Before we start, I would like you to scan a QR code, Slido, here. Okay, why are we doing this? We are trying to gather words or keywords that you feel that is important to help guide us in our discussion tomorrow. So we're going to have a few times of this process to at the end arrive at 3 to 4 or maybe more keywords that you feel that is important that can be built into projects or a program to help our conversation tomorrow. Yeah. So quickly just put a few words. You can put more than one if you want to, that you feel that is important, including our online friends. I will just put 2 to 3 minutes for this. Yeah. Thank you very much. You can put both what you feel. It can be, yeah. That's open end. We're just going to arrive in what people feel and what the consensus are. It can be solutions, it can be threats, it can be enablers. Yeah, those three that I can think of. Yeah? Another 2 to 3 minutes before we start. Yeah. Okay? It's okay. We'll leave it as well, and then we'll have this iteration for 1 or 2 more times throughout our workshop. So at the end of the day, we hope to arrive in some keywords that will help us develop programs or projects during our breakout sessions. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. Thank you for coming back. Probably I have heard many of you wanted more time to have conversation with each other. But I'm going to do this quick also so that we can have more conversation throughout the night. Let me clarify also, just now I said we're probably going to have some drinks later. But if you look at the schedule, it says self-funded, yeah? So you have to pay for your own drink, of course, right? Come on. So yeah, so it's a free event. You may join. If you don't want to, it's fine as well. Okay, but most of us, I probably will go get some drink. So you are definitely invited if you want to come and join us. And it's self-funded. No, there's no senior people. There's only youngest. So you put yourself in one of those categories. Huh? They are young, younger, the youngest. So there's no senior people here. That's a very good definition. Okay. Very nice. Very, very nice. Okay, can we put the panelists on the screen? First, I would like to just introduce who are we going to have conversation with. I'm not going to say much. I will let them tell their stories. So the panel discussion hopes to look at what are the young people are doing on the ground, what are their challenges, and we'll try to arrive to see where can we fix the gap. Maybe what happens in Africa is probably very different in Asia. What happens in the Mediterranean probably is very different from the Atlantic. So we are trying to look at how can we learn from each other's challenges and gaps, and hopefully then take this conversation for tomorrow's breakout session. So as I said just now, we have 2 persons that is on site, and there will be 4 of them online. Hopefully the 4 is online, if I can check. Joseph, are you online, Joseph? Yeah. Hi, Joseph. We all can see you, right?
Yes, Abby,
Wave,
I'm here.
wave. Hello, hello. Can you see us? Yeah, thank you, Joseph.
Yeah.
Nice. Titipon is from Thailand. Wait, yeah, that's you. And then we have Blessing. Yes, I can see you. Can you hear us, Blessing? Good. And then Palu is not here, but probably if he gets connected, we'll get him up here. But Palu is from Fiji, but unfortunately we cannot get him. And then we have Helen here. She has been complaining because she says she has been talking too much, but we're going to force her to do a little bit more work. And Aneshwa is, I'm so interested at the poster of the crocodiles in India. So she has to probably tell us a little bit more on that. So to kickstart, I have a few questions already prepared for them. But let me just start with Joseph. Joseph is also co-organizing this. So Joseph, can you tell us a little bit of your background and what do you do?
Yeah, good afternoon to everyone. It's my pleasure to be part of this panel discussion. And I'm joining from University of Ghana. I'm actually in the Department of Mathematics. My research area is basically in physical oceanography. I'm interested in modeling, looking at flooding waves, both surface and internal waves. I've spent the last couple of years actually doing intercomparison between internal waves and global models and altimetric data. And so, yeah, that's a bit of me, the University of Ghana. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And Titipon, do you want to introduce yourself and what do you do?
Hello, everyone. My name is Titipon. You can call me Fa. I work at Department of Marine and Coastal Resources in Thailand. And new young scientists are working about survey coral reef. Yeah.
Thank you, Titipon. Yes. Titipon works with the Department of Marine and Coastal Resources. Yeah. And why I want to put her up because she has a very good project that I've heard, but I will let her talk to you about it later. Thank you, Titipon. Thank you, Fa. Blessing, do you want to quickly introduce yourself and what do you do?
Yes, thank you, Ariba. My name is Blessing Charuka. I'm a research fellow with the Future Earth Africa Hub Leadership Center in South Africa. I'm formerly a doctoral student with the University of Cape Coast at the Center of Coastal Management in Ghana. So I'm really pleased to see my colleagues also on site and online from Ghana, doing great work there. Thank you so much. I look forward to a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. And last but the other two that is on site, we have heard from Helen, but we did not really ask her what she really does. And yeah, Helen.
Hello again. So I am Helen Kizenga. I am a PhD student at the University of Bologna. But before that, I am a researcher from Tanzania. And I mainly work on observational oceanography, both in situ and remote sensing. And currently, I'm working on citizen science project using low-cost sensors for cost observation. Yes.
Thank you. And Aneshwa?
Hi, everyone. So unlike what I showed in my presentation, I do not work directly with crocodiles or tigers. I'm a plankton biologist, and I mainly study two aspects. One is nitrogen pollution linked with disease spread in estuaries, and the second is coastal acidification. Those are my core areas of research.
Thank you, Aneshwa. I'm sorry because it's a very far way, a plankton to a crocodile, but I will remember that you work with plankton. Joseph, I want you to tell us a little bit. Do you have a specific project that you do in Ghana that revolves around coastal resilience? And what are those objectives of those projects? Just one example.
Yes, I'm part of a project called the Oceans Margins Initiative. So this is a project that I'm working on with colleagues from the University of Ghana, the Department of Marine Science, as well as some colleagues from the USA. And so we are trying to use both observations and models to try to understand the linkage between the coastal dynamics as well as the open ocean dynamics. And so, and want to link this as well to upwelling along the coast. So one unique feature about the upwelling around the Gulf of Guinea is that there are still unanswered questions, scientific questions that we still need to know, especially the sources of upwelling, the scientific basis for the upwelling in the coast of the Gulf of Guinea around the coast of Ghana. And so this is a 5-year project that will involve us going to sea, taking measurements, and then involving modeling and predictions. Modelers from Hui and then University of New Hampshire in the US, as well as University of Ghana. We had a pilot project a few weeks ago in Ghana, where we went out to take a few measurements of the bathymetry. Those in biology did experiments on taking samples of plankton, zooplankton, and phytoplankton. And this is just a pilot project. The main project will start somewhere in July, August. And again, the main idea is to understand what is happening along the coast of Ghana in Accra, and to be able to link it between the fluxes of nutrients from the coastal region to the open ocean, as well as from the open ocean to the coastal ocean. And how does this affect the upwelling in the region? How does this feed into the nutrients and to the into the ecosystem around the Gulf of Guinea, especially the coast of Ghana? So these are some projects that I'm involved in. One project that I'm involved in. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. I know that you are involved in many other projects because I've heard many different occasions of you speaking on different types of projects. But thank you very much for sharing with us your project. Can I call Can I call Blessing? Do you want to highlight one of the projects that you have been running, and what are those objectives and how are they connected to coastal resilience?
Thank you very much. I can say my work is mostly connected to adaptation and resilience. I worked in Ghana for the past 4 years, and I was doing my doctoral studies, working on coastal management strategies and coastal infrastructure. As we all know that, various strategies can be employed in adaptation to sea level rise and associated hazards like erosion and flooding. So in my project, I worked more under the supervision of my supervisor, and also support from colleagues who are also, some of them there on site, like Jason. looking at the interplay between coastal protection and then environmental and socio-economic effects, rather pitfalls. But as we all know that when we use the protect strategy, it needs careful planning, and which implies that understanding the oceanographic climate, the waves, the coastal forcing, the variables that affect that impact on the shoreline. So I investigated the effects of the installation of coastal protection strategies, mainly looking at groins and revetments, and then the environmental and socio-economic impact, particularly the impact on the shoreline evolution, and then looking at the impact of approaches such as the revetment and seawalls to socio-economic impact on traditional fishing methods and the livelihood of those communities along that region. Of course, much of the environmental effects have been mentioned, in previous presentations, like shoreline migration to unprotected coasts, which then lead to, chronic requests for, shoreline protection. Briefly, for now, that's what I look at. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. Probably not very clear, but I know Blessing does a lot of social economic interface between solutions. So it's probably slightly a bit different from people around here who has a bit more science background. Blessing does a little bit more of the science policy interface, which is very important for our solutions in the future. Thank you, Blessing. Tidipon, are you ready to tell us your project, which I am very interested actually? Yeah? You share one of your projects? Yeah? Thank you.
Yes. We are the MCR have been surveying and monitoring coral reef across the eastern Gulf of Thailand. Our goal is access reef resilience in the face of coral bleaching and climate change. The activities we collect wide length of data, including the percentage of leaf and dead coral cover, juvenile coral density, sink of coral disease, and compromised health, such as well as fish and microbenthos community. We monitor marine debris to understand its impact on reef ecosystem. This comprehensive approach helps us evaluate the health and adaptability of coral reef. Thank you.
Slightly a bit difficult, but let me summarize. So one of the challenges also in different languages, I could understand that in English. What Titipon is doing is she monitors coral reef in the Gulf of Thailand. Yeah, for basically what she does using drone monitoring, including the density, looking at disease, not just on coral, and also fishes as well that you said just now. So, and seagrass area. So those are the important ecosystem that is being observed by Titipon using drone technology, right? Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I will come back to you a bit on challenges later, so get prepared. They know the questions already. Helen, do you want to tell us a little bit?
I have like two projects that are directly linked with cost to predict, but I will focus more on one smaller project. I will actually give credit because this project was only possible after I met Nadia and Myred. They introduced me to they introduced me to the fishing vessel observing network, yeah, F1, and with them we have been able to conduct a very good project in Tanzania. So this project is a citizen science project which engages local fishers in data collection. So we have 3 vessels that we have installed the sensors for temperature, depth, profiles, and they have been running for 6 months now, and they are doing quite good. We have like more than 400, 500 profiles already, and we have like a master's student already working on the data. So it is quite a good project, and we were funded by the Partnership for Global Ocean Observations, POGO. So yeah, that is what the project is, and the important part of doing that project was mainly because we do not have much data on our costs. We have very fragmented data, and we needed something that could generate more data to inform like decision and like fisheries in our area. So that's why we were looking for this like cost-effective sensors that can help us with that.
I'm very sure I did not selected Helen for the panel because she knows Myred and Nadia. That is for sure. Yeah, thank you. Anishwa, do you want to?
So I work broadly on 2 projects. One is the Sundarbans Biological Observatory Time Series, which is the project associated with Coast Predict. And it's Southeast Asia's only mangrove time series, which monitors all of the biogeochemistry in the region. And the second is the Project Tiger, which has now been renamed as the Big Cat Project in India. So the reason why I always highlight Project Tiger is that it was a project which single-handedly pulled the tiger population in India from being critical to being going to almost extinction to being at carrying capacity at the ecosystem right now. And not only did it do it for the tiger, it ensured that Sundarbans maintains its UNESCO World Heritage Site tag, Ramsar Site tag, and force the government to preserve the ecosystem no matter what happens. All right. So we had a wide range of challenges because you have animal-wildlife conflict, you have human rights laws that come in, you have wildlife protection laws that come in. So it was extremely difficult even for the federal government to take any action. But this one single animal ensured that things are clearly defined on pen and paper and executed on the ground.
We'll give you the question first. Thank you, Anishwa. So if you can see, we selected the panel also based on what they do. Citizen science is a keyword here. So some people works with citizen science, trying to collect data. There are people who works with the semi-government interface, trying to force the government to do something. And then that's the Blessing works with social science and policy interface. So this is where our conversation and directions are when we selected our panels. Anishwa, you talk about forcing the government to make difficult decisions. What sort of what kind of challenges that you have faced, and how did you successfully convince governments or some stakeholders to make the difficult decision of conservation? And those are not easy decisions. What kind of challenges that you have overcome?
So back at home, our structure is a huge bunch of uneducated politicians versus a very highly educated bureaucracy which doesn't like speaking to each other. And the scientists essentially get sandwiched in the middle. All right, but we realized very soon, talking to the bureaucrats, that they don't like being lectured, no matter by whom, and the politicians don't like being told what to do. So we found a middle ground. We started talking in very simple terms. We did not set goals that they knew that they couldn't achieve. So we gave them very, very, self-centered goals that, yeah, if you save the tiger, your name will be, ingrained in stone forever. So we did those, and those were enough push for them to actually take steps in the right direction. And now we have active forest department cells which speak to scientists before taking any decisions on afforestation, animal conservation. And we have a lot heavily funded federal projects on mangrove cells throughout the country that essentially decide what kind of plantations projects had to go on. So it started off on a bad note, but fortunately we did find a middle ground.
Very interesting. I will go to Blessing because as we are at the interface of government dealing with social, economic, and policy, Blessing, how about you? Did you find any challenges trying to convince the community or trying to convince government while you are handling your project back in Ghana?
Yes, thank you for that question. So the major problem or the major challenge on the policy on the science policy interface is the multiplicity of institutions, mostly working on almost the same mandates, and then we have fragmented or unclear policies, which then complicate the entire process of stakeholder engagement. But just to add on, we also have lack of coordination among those institutions, mostly maybe to say for the fear of accountability. But these are the major challenges you find that they are almost spread across the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. I'm sure it is not very easy, but Titipon actually works for the government. So let's look at the perspective of why Thai government has took initiative rather than having the scientists or the people telling them what to do. But Thai government has been very forward in trying to do coastal resilient kind of projects and monitoring. Titipon, do you want to tell us a little bit in the perspective of the government? Do you face any challenges as part of the government agency implementing such project in communities?
Okay, we currently receive strong support from the department and other organization. However, one of our biggest challenge of implementing our project is effectively applying available technology to collect accurate and meaningful data equivalent to technical except for risk monitoring such as remote sensing, drone, and automate data analysis. Adapting them to local conditions can be complex. Factor we water quality, leaf accessibility, and the technical expertise required to operate this to inform how effectively we can integrate them into our work. And additionally, ensuring that the data correct is not only scientifically sound but also accessible is and useful for local community and policy maker is crucial. We are trying to bridge and gap between advanced technology and practical conservation efforts, ensuring that
Titipon,
the
can I give you a pause
Okay.
so that before
Sorry.
I forget most of the information? So, in the perspective of Thailand, implementing technologies for monitoring is one of the challenges. Getting data using new technology is one of the problem. Number two is integrating the data to yes, downscaling the data that they got. Trying to make sense of the data and how to use the data is also part of their challenge, which Coast Predict is trying to solve this problem. Number three, and also how to make sense of the data for the community. So the community may not understand why do we use this data for, why do we even collect the data for.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. And the last part is also how then the data going to impact the people who is using that area. Also something that they felt difficult to explain. Am I right, Titipon? Do you have any other point? Do you have any point that you want to tell? Okay, thank you very much. The last but not least, before two more, Joseph, do you want to have any challenges that you face? Now we heard from the scientists and the society to the government. The government also feels that we have a little problem implementing it. Joseph, do you have any challenges that you feel that is so difficult for you? Any of those challenges?
Yeah, so I think the challenges are very similar to what the last speaker just spoke about the government. Communication with local communities is a challenge because oftentimes there is imbalance between what the scientists want to do and what the local communities are expecting. And so that communication gap can be a very big challenge. And of course, lack of education, the way a scientist will understand a problem is different from how the fisher folk around the coastal regions will understand it. And how you break it down to the level where they understand the problem becomes an issue. Well, other times scientists really do not engage deeply with the local communities, and that creates a problem as well. Being a modeler, I'm usually interested in getting data to, if you like, validate model outputs. And as the speaker who talked about the fishing vessel observing network spoke about, if you want to model, you need data on the bathymetry, for example. Now you would have to rely on global data sets. If you remember the talk that Emmanuel Brimpon talked about, he talked about wave run-up and all of those things. And he had to rely on global data sets. But as we all know, what is happening locally could be different from what you get from the global data sets. And so how do you get local information to be able to model what is happening locally to have relevant information to tackle the challenges that you face? So having local data sets is a very, very big challenge in our region. And so that's what I will add to what the others have said. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. And I would like to come back to Helen, implementing citizen science to get the data. So this is also one of our main goal in Coast Predict and Global Coast. Using cheap tools and trying to get our citizens to try to help us gather data, meaningful data. How did you convince them? Fishing vessels, not the easiest community to talk to. Very, very sure about that. In every country in this world, how do you able to do that, and how do you overcome those challenges? Asking them to put something on their boat.
Okay, cost effective, not cheap.
Thank you very much. Cost effective. Thank you very much. Cheap doesn't mean lousy, yeah?
Yeah. Yes. So among the challenges that we faced during the implementation of the project, first of all, it is a challenge that we all know, like funding. These are cost-effective instruments, but yeah, you still need some funding to be able to like acquire the instruments. So I had like really hard time finding even the funding to fund these 3 vessels. So yeah, that was a challenge. But fortunately, the POGO awarded us this amount, and then through this project, we were also able to like apply for a call that we were able to get. Like we will be installing more sensors in the next like 6 months, which are generated through this project. So that is very good. We will be able to have sensors along almost the entire coast of Tanzania. But one of the pressing challenge that we faced, and as Abe said, the fishing communities. That is a big challenge. Like when you are working with the fisheries communities, you really need to be like very clear and understanding them. First, when we introduced the idea, we had like a very heated conversation. Cooper was there when we were doing the kind of an awareness and sensitization program. And like the fishers were not really having it at first, and they were thinking like, okay, you are going to install these things in our boats. These might be like cameras that will be like checking on us and seeing like, okay, just monitoring what we are doing, and that was a bit of a challenge. But we did a lot of awareness, and we spoke to the communities, we spoke with the fishers, and we had like a clear demonstration on how these instruments work. And so they were able to like get it, and now they are kind of like, just before I came here, I had like some calls from some of them and saying like, okay, we also want to help in collecting the data. Don't you have more of those instruments? So that was like a very positive thing to us, and to know like where we come from, and now that the fishers are willing to volunteer themselves. That was quite good. And so another challenge that we are still currently like working on is the scientists within our like communities. They kind of think like this thing is too good to be true. Yes. So since we are used to have like these traditional like going to the ocean, scientists going to the ocean in using vessels, collecting data. So like having these cost-effective sensors, they think like the data might not be of that good quality. So that is the challenge that we really want to overcome, and we want to kind of hold like workshops with these scientific communities, and be able to demonstrate like how the quality of this data and what we can do with them. Yeah.
Really inspiring story. But I would like to open. I don't want to ask all the questions. I would like to open to the floor. If anybody has any burning question that you want to ask. Nadia already wanted, okay, yay. Nadia first, because she already.
Thank you, Ellen, for reminding us. So my way to interpret the success of the fishery observing system, we had one in 2000. So Italy developed, Italy has a CNR in Ancona, where there are fisheries experts. So while we were developing the forecasting system of the Mediterranean, we had them with us and they developed. So my understanding of that success, which is everywhere, is that first, the fishermen are a knowledge society, a knowledge community, excuse me. In fact, they use the physics of the ocean to fish. And so that's very important because it's not like a community that uses the resources but doesn't appreciate the environment. They do. And that is the other one important point. The second important point is that since the beginning, the technology was done to preserve some confidentiality on the position. I don't know if you have this, but in Italy, it was quite important not to show immediately at the same time they were collecting the data. It was not a completely real-time data transmission. It was delayed mode. So is to sort of fit the need of the modelers and the initial condition for the work to the need of the community. Each community has to have special dedicated observing system requirements. Cannot go only with the one of the scientists. And so that was the key of success. I think it will be replicated, especially now that there is the company, Coopers, and they are really aware of this. Okay, so that's.
Thank you, Nadia, for the additional information. Inspiring. Yeah.
Great panel. What I'd like to ask is, and I don't know, y'all will figure out who's gonna answer it. In terms of any upcoming work that you might have on the table already, is there anything that you're particularly excited about that you'd like to share with the community?
Don't take my last question. Patient, that was the last question, but it's okay. Anybody who wants to take the answer, take the question? Joseph, yeah?
Yes. So I want to, and I'm excited because it's related to what Alan is doing with the citizen science. And so a project that we want to embark on, we are still working on this, is to put sensors on boats, both boats on the fisher folks as well as boats on our Navy vessels. And so we want to get a bunch of this, and the focus is on the bathymetry of the coastal ocean in our region, because the data is very porous and is hampering so many developmental issues, scientific issues as well. So that is what I'm really excited about. And just to add a bit on working with the fisher folks, what we found a few weeks back when we went to do some cruises, these are just day cruises, is that we went and spoke with the fisher folk about what we're going to do. And then they suggested that for each of the cruises, they want at least one fisherman to join us to see what we're doing. And so we accommodated their request, allowed one person to join the cruise, to join the boat. And then we explained to him whilst we were at sea about what we're doing and what we're going to use the data for. And so we found that being open to them and open to their suggestions, in a way, open them up, and they were willing to help us do what we're doing, because we're afraid that if we went out to sea while the fishermen were also out fishing, we could have problems with their nets because it's very close to the coast. And that could affect us as well as affect their fishing activities. And so just being open to them and explaining in detail what we are doing sometimes helps, as I think Ellen was explaining. And so that's a project I'm excited about. It's also citizen science, basically putting instruments, echo sounders on boats and fisher vessels to gather bathymetric data around the Ghana coast. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. One more, or anybody else want to talk about? Let me give the online first, and then I'll come to you. Okay, Helen. Blessing, do you want to say something? Yours.
Yeah, maybe I can just add on. I mean, contributing to the issue of data scarcity. I think previous presenter mentioned along the the west coast of Africa, and of course along the coast of the entire region, we do have challenges with data availability, data scarcity, data accuracy, which would affect scientific results. So I think sometime later at the end of 2024, we did have a meeting in Canada on coastal resilience. I think some of you were there, where we came out with a number of policy recommendations. One of them was a community or an Atlantic community where we can have data pooled together by our communities, be it universities and research institutions, whereby we could then, have improved data reliability. I think that is a point I wanted to bring across, that we need to really have institutions and research institutions in particular working together to avoid the challenge of having, data scattered all over, but then some of it may not be really reliable to use. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Blessing. Last one, Helen. You want to say something? A short one.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, so it was the question from Nikia, yes? Yeah. Yeah, so what I'm most excited about was like, since we are doing the fishing vessel observing network, we are mainly doing the temperature depth profile. And now we have a project that has already been funded that will include more sensors. It will include these the same temperature depth profile, and then we'll have the sea level sensors from CMCC, we'll have the current sensors and many more. So that is very exciting for us because we'll have like more data to kind of, yeah.
Now? Yes. Okay, I was about to start singing because you couldn't hear me. This is very exciting, and the question I have is, having seen research projects more from the area of public health, and having had experiences when I was the director of community organizations, good and bad experiences, researchers that came with a very colonial attitude, used to extract and use the community in a disrespectful way, and then after a while, you say like, I'm not gonna be part of your research projects in the next stage. Or researchers that found ways to make them, that came with the research agenda and they were transparent about it, but they were also open to ask what our agenda was, what do we needed. And I remember hearing a Native American, the director of an organization one day saying in a gathering of academics, public health, saying, no survey without service. So my question, because the thing is, you talk about citizenship, citizen science, but a lot of times there is people in our communities who are not considered or treated as citizens by the state where they live in. immigrants, refugees, people with disabilities, people who are extremely poor. So how can we be allies of those communities? But my question is, have you used that approach of trying to bring some services to the community that you are doing a project, thinking that you are establishing a long-term relationship with them, maybe not just for this project?
Aneshwa, you want to help us?
So since I work in an area which is a marine protected zone, we are not allowed to go from outside, except if we work with the local NGOs. So what we do is we tie up with them. All right, we have all paperwork in place, but a part of the project has to have fun. A part of the project has to have funds where you have outreach, where documents are prepared in the local languages, and you have vlogs or you have videos that is available for everyone to look at on their phones. And you're not allowed to collect only scientific data in terms of like you just go and measure pH and get out. You can't do that. Some part has to have what the community gets back. So if I'm collecting salinity data, I need to find a way of telling them that this is what you need to grow, and this is the region which is getting more saline, so probably find a way out of it. And we are allowed to hence speak to the community leaders, and then the politicians to direct decisions accordingly.
Helen, you want to short one? A very short one? Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry,
yeah.
I always stay short too. Not that I meant to, but yeah. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no problem. We also like think about how these communities can benefit from this, except just helping us collect the data. So we have another project that we have been working on, where we intend to provide synthesize the data that will be guiding the fishers on areas that they have the potential fishing grounds. So this is something that we will be using the data from the Citizen Science Project, and we will also be integrating with the remote sensing data. So that will be like a service that is directly given to fishers. Yeah.
Perfect. I want to ask the last question, if I may. I want to ask the last question. You have one more question? We'll accommodate, because you're all late. You are all late for coffee. After coffee break, you were all late. So,
just a super quick question, still regarding the cooperation with fishers. Maybe I missed that part, but are you working with like a cooperative? Are the fishers organized in a cooperative? And are you working with the whole cooperative or just with some fishers? And in that case, do you feel or are you planning to make any kind of measurement of impact of the social backfire of working like just with some fishers or just with some cooperatives in an area?
Yeah, first of all, what we do is the fishers around, actually the place where we installed our instruments, it is along the Zanzibar Channel. So the fishers in Zanzibar have their own association, which is very strong. You cannot really do anything. You cannot go to one fisher and say take this instrument, and they will not do that. So we are working directly with the association, and that is where we actually started with the awareness. We spoke with the leaders of the association, and after that, that is when we went to the community, and it was easier because they were able to help us with the explaining and convincing the others that this is a good thing. Yeah.
I'm very, very convinced that around the world is the same. In Malaysia, it's the same thing. It's exactly the same thing. If you go to one fisherman, nobody cares about you. But if you talk to the cooperative, actually they are not as they are very extremely knowledgeable. They exactly know what we are trying to do actually. Some scientists always think, a fisherman doesn't know what we want. No. They know what they want and they know what we want. So approaching them carefully with a lot of respect does a lot of benefit to both parties. And going through the cooperative is one of those and associations that are very, very extremely strong community actually. So I'm very glad that it crossed across from the Mediterranean to Africa to Asia. Is the same situation that we can really use the model to help us in our data collection. Last question, if I may. You want to share something? 1 minute.
No, because I have
Short.
an experience. They really different the level of community. Even only in the southern part we have the Muslim community area, which is like 4 or 5 province along the coastline, and then it's totally different. Like maybe some is really very good, ready to collect by themselves or whatever support from the government, from the NGO, will be another case. But the one that have nothing, even the place for meeting, it's just a place for coffee break every morning, something like that we need to reach. You need a bit of trick, like you go to. I have experience like talking to the leader of community first, and then try to crack what they need, what they really need.
Thank you. So you see the young people are really working with the community now. That's a very extremely positive thing looking forward. And, and tired. The young people are tired, but it's okay. The young people is tired. The younger one is a bit tired. Ask Nadia. Don't say tired to her. Okay, last question. In an ideal world, if you could have any wish list in order for us to help you in your project, what sort of support do you think this community can provide you? Some wish lists, if I can hear from all of them before then we will close, so that we will know what is the need of the younger people, right? And then how do we then complement each other? Then we'll bring this conversation to the breakout session tomorrow and to see, to develop projects to support both. How do we then consolidate the two? Can I start with Titipon? Your wish list. Yeah. If, in order to continue the projects that they have been doing very well, what sort of support do you really need in order to expand the project? And then in order also to see where do we find the middle point to have their project to be part of Coast Prodict, and how then Coast Prodict also able to support their project and find the middle point where we can develop projects out of that. That is actually what we are trying to get.
Okay. Okay. The technology to accept habitat over less area in a short amount of time. I think I want to support for knowledge and change, and I think the technology can help everybody for survey, for recording, for dif, 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 for if for monitoring everything. And thank you for everyone support me. This first time I talk about in English.
Thank you, Titi Paul. It's
Thomas.
okay. Yeah, what she meant is more technology employment in her monitoring work, and see where can we expand your monitoring as well in your area. That's what I got from Titi Paul. Thank you very much for trying. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about language barrier. This is where the whole community here is trying to help each other. Thank you very much.
So much.
Joseph, do you want to have last word on your wish list so that we can... Joseph have many wish lists, I know that. Come on, Joseph.
So, I mean, when you say wish list, I'm sure you mean money is not part of it, right? Well,
money solves a lot of problem, but they are source of a lot of problem too. Yeah.
Yes, that's true. And so the project I talked about has to do with obtaining low costs, or as Alan would say, cost-effective instrumentation for measurements. And so if anybody knows of sources where we could apply to get low-cost instrumentation, echo sounders, things like that, that's not too expensive, that we could buy a lot of this and put on boats to take measurements, that would be great. If anybody has any idea or any links, that would be fantastic. Thank you.
Thank you, Joseph. Yes, technology employment again, yeah. Blessing, do you want to have last word on how can we help you in your project?
Yeah, thank you. As I've always said, working on cost adaptation infrastructure adaptation has become, central to topics in the 21st century, and resilience is part of it. And then nature-based solutions are central to that. But then as we try to move from the green to the gray, there are a lot of policy gaps that we see in the endeavors for co-design and all these other solutions, bring the cost of communities into this project, trying to, ensure justice. But then still we find that there are a lot of policy gaps. So I would wish that we have, cooperation between the NGOs and government and institutions who are working on these projects to ensure that whatever we're working on is sustainable. Briefly, that's what I would think would, ensure that we have, sustainable projects. And lastly, funding is a major challenge for us, mostly in the, the Southern Hemisphere here. We do tend to have projects which are supported from the global north, mostly north-south and triangulation, but then governments may not be part of it. So those projects tend to be short-term. I would wish to see that, change, whereby we have governments actually supporting those projects for long-term sustainability. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Funding is always a problem, but one of the things that Global Coast is doing is to demonstrate how long-term monitoring kind of data are able to serve the government as well. That's why we are having conversation here, and hopefully one day, the government wants to support every single monitoring in each country. That's my wish list too. The two panelists on site. Helen first.
Yeah. I think you already know what I'm going to say. More cost-effective sensors with more essential ocean variables. Yeah, we need that because we don't have much data in our region, so that would be helpful. But what I really wish is for at least one of our major islands to be part of the Global Coast pilot. So that is what I'm really waiting for. I'm waiting for the call. So yes, that is it for me. Yeah.
Okay. Please don't take offense when I say the following. But you know how we always put in so much effort to maintain a geographic diversity when we come for meetings? I would very, very urge the Global North to be mindful when you go back from the meetings, because as you might have noticed, that citations are very skewed. And we tend to keep citing people from the Global North, completely ignoring the amazing science that the Global South does. And even if you come across papers which are, global so-and-so, you'll see that the Global South is mostly always ignored. So when you do hear us speaking about our sites, try to go back and see if anything that you do is relevant to what we are doing. And if you can maintain a parity, if you can, call people from the Global South, it would help boost a lot of people's excitement to go ahead and work. So for example, when the first time I attended this meeting, I was in the UK, and it was much easier to come from the UK to Italy to attend the meeting, but not so much from India. All right, so it doesn't help if after I go back and then I have no connections left. I mean, it definitely does fall on me to send emails, which I do from time to time, and I have a lot of conversations with the secretariat or Nadia. But it also helps if the connection is the other way around as well.
Point noted. I take this opportunity to, to offer Malaysia, if you want to come to Malaysia for our next slide advertisement. We are willing to host. So if you are looking for a Southern Hemisphere, we are open to such discussion. Thank you very much for bringing that. Thank you, Joseph. Thank you, Titipon. Blessing. We hope to see you in person. But we'll continue to talk to you because tomorrow you are going to be here and do a lot of hard work developing a project. You want to have a comment? Yeah.
I would just like to say that 35 years ago, I was one of you guys, the young people in the ECOP. And I can tell you that it's extremely excellent because the people I work with today, and we're good friends and, we share a lot of also part of our private life, going to restaurants and so on. Really close colleagues. They came from meetings like this 35 years ago. And I encourage that you follow 2 or 3 of those, and then you make friends for your whole career. It really works. It really helps international cooperation.
Thank you. I can respond to that. I know May. Although I'm not that old, it's already 15 years of us working together, actually. So imagine another 35 years. I hope so. Okay, but do not go. 3 more questions. 3 more Slido questions. 3 more Slido, and that's it, and we are done for the day. A quick one, right? And then we will adjourn to where I do not know yet. Is this one? Just 3 more questions. No, sorry. I do not know whether the bar next door can fit us all, but we'll try. We'll try. No? Do you have a better... Come on a hotel? Yeah, we can. We can do it. I don't know, too. Yeah, it's nice to get out of the hotel, but if anybody has any suggestion who is from Lecce, anybody can tell us where to go. Aha! Oh. Alibi Creative Club. Oh. Don't forget the Slido question, and then I know the conversation here is more. Oh, do you want to see the word cloud? Is it possible to see the word cloud? Okay, cool. Just a quick so that you see what is everybody's thoughts are, and we will continue the conversation on the getting thirsty because I'm talking too much, right? Question? Yeah, next one. Lack of funding. Oh my goodness. Money is solves a lot of problem and source of a lot of problems too. Yeah. Can I just have a show of hand as well? Who is going to join us tonight? A quick one. 10, 15 about? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We are all young here. You know? After 2 drinks, everybody's young. That's very sure. Oversouth restaurant. We're welcome to have more tequila. About 10, 15 of us. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I think that comes to the end of very extremely long day as well. Funding. Okay, so for those people who wants to join us, probably we'll meet